I got it right here. Is it on there?
Yep. Perfect. It's already on. Oh, let's rock.
All right, here we go.
What's up, y'all? Can y'all hear me? I'm cool. The voice of the Tigers. With me, as always, Coach Dre Trosclair. Thank you. What's up, buddy?
Not too much, man. Ready for some more football week 4 action against Central Lafourche.
All right.
Wrap up everything from last week and
absolutely.
hit on all the high points, low points, talk about a little bit of football.
Before we get into Assumption, I can't clown you about Dallas losing because the Saints also lost.
Yeah, but we lost too.
Yeah, but
so we
that's what I'm saying. I can't clown you. So yeah, okay. Let's start the show. I can't clown you.
Hey, but the Tigers won.
Tigers won. Right.
2-0.
Wait. I can't clown you.
What happened?
Fantasy football.
Oh, come on, man.
Who you lost to?
You, Poodle. Let's do the show.
Who's 3-0?
You.
Who's leading the league?
The Thibodeau Hot Tigers. Let's go.
All right, let's start. All right, last week at Assumption, 16-13 victory.
Yeah, man, look, a little tighter than what we expected, to be honest with you. I think, the week off with the hurricane, not practicing, I think that had a big effect on our preparation, and just our guys were a little bit rusty in the first half, second half as well, to be honest with you. So I didn't think we really ever got over that hump, but to be able to go into, a road environment, they had a lot of people there. It was a big crowd, big night for them with their
nice crowd.
The stadium reveal with their horse and stuff like that. So I was excited with the way our guys were able to overcome some adversity and get away with a win in a game that could have easily went either way.
Yeah.
But obviously I didn't love the way we played. I think we need to play a lot cleaner football, from here on out, especially tomorrow night in a rivalry game, at home with all the distractions that go along with homecoming. So just really happy that we were able to pull it out, but didn't really necessarily love the way that we played football last week.
Right. Yeah, that was a nice little halftime thing with the horse that was erected in 69. 1969.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
We followed doing that.
Yeah, that announcer should have chosen his words a little better. But, all right, let's get into these offensive stats.
Yeah, let's go.
Braden Becknell, 5 for 9, 53 yards. So obviously we didn't have to throw a lot again.
Didn't do it a bunch, but I think in the situations where we needed to, when we got behind the sticks, I thought we did a pretty good job getting open. He had a really good comeback route to JT on the sideline, on our sideline. It was a really good ball, really good catch. But yeah, for the most part, man, in the passing game, we didn't have a ton of stuff that we really that we felt like we needed to get to. But he did a job that we asked him to do whenever we were throwing the football. So I think you'll see us a little bit more kind of start to open it up some as the season goes on, as we start to gel with one another and kind of get into a rhythm with our offense. But that's something that I didn't think last Friday night that we did. I never really felt like we were in a true rhythm offensively. We didn't have a ton of explosive plays. We kind of were 4-4-4. Things like that, but that's going to happen sometimes in this offense that we're running right now. So we got to do a better job, I think, as a coaching staff, and that starts with me, getting our guys ready and making sure that the plan that we have in place is going to be effective against any team we play, against any different defensive front that we see.
Absolutely. Griff was the workhorse,
no doubt.
22 rushes, 127 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, man, Griff played well. Obviously, he was the engine that made our offense go last week. We were able to give him the ball a ton, whether it be to put us in field position to where we can go and punch one in, or whether we, late in the game trying to kill the clock and do things like that. So I think, that was impressive by his part to get, 22 carries and come out of there healthy. No bumps, bruises, anything like that. Kind of, goes to show that the work that he's been putting in the offseason, taking care of his body and doing the things to be able to handle 22 touches on a Friday night against a pretty physical Assumption team.
Right. Dom added 10 rushes for 77 yards and a touchdown, and Bryson Woods had 3 for 10.
Yeah, so obviously didn't spread the ball around a ton. A lot of guys didn't get carries or anything like that, but Dom, I thought, again, was explosive. We ran rocket to their right sideline from about the 45-yard line. He was able to make 2 guys miss. Offensive line did a pretty good job on that play, and he was able to do the rest by himself. So anytime we can get the ball in his hands, we feel really good about our chances to score a touchdown. He's an explosive player. Through the first 2 weeks of the season, he's done a great job of putting the ball in the end zone, and he's a guy that we're going to lean on heavily going forward. And then Bryson, I think Bryson coming off his injury, he's been a little tentative, coming back, but he's somebody that we're counting on. He's a senior. He's a really good football player. So as he gets more inclined to, getting more carries, more touches, and I think he's going to do a much better job for us going forward. But I think offensively, the production from the rushing game, it was there. Obviously we had 214 yards on the ground, but as many times as we carried the football, we'd like to have a lot more than that. We'd like to be in the 300 plus range. So, we need to do a better job. Obviously, it just comes down to we need to execute better, and that starts up front. You know what I mean? I didn't think our offensive line played as well as what they're capable of playing last week, but we will highlight the one bright spot I thought that we had, Caleb Williams. He was our offensive player of the week last week. He was a monster last week. He really was, man. He was doing his job every single play. And I told the guys at halftime, if it came down to me picking a guy who I could tell that wants to win the football game on the offense, there was only one person that stood out to me in the first half, and it was him. Right. He was just physically dominating his opponent the entire first half. He did it the entire second half. So a really, really, really good football game by that kid. Only a sophomore, starting for us at right guard. So we were really pleased with the way he played. And he set a good example for his teammates of what it's supposed to look like each and every rep, not taking plays off, not always doing the little things right, and those things add up. So he did a good job, but offensive line as a whole last week, we weren't really pleased, and especially wing back blocking too. That goes into it too with this offense. Those guys got to be physical on the outside, so it's going to come down to Dom, Bryson, Von Darius, the different guys that we're going to have rotating in and out. They got to do a better job on the perimeter blocking as well. And it goes to our receivers on the outside too, whether it be Cohen Oakland, Kyron False, Jacob Terrell. They got to do a good job because when Griff's able to bust a couple of those runs and we get into the second and third level, if we're not doing a good job on the perimeter, then that's taking a 10-yard gain that could have been a 40-yard gain. And it's just it brings us back behind the sticks to where, it's a first down,
right?
But it's not an explosive play. So we got to do a better job of blocking across the board. And I think that's something that we worked this week in practice. We came up with a drill yesterday just to get those wingbacks more involved and more physical, coming downhill, try to get on the second level. So I think you should see some improvement from our guys tomorrow night.
All right. Let's run through the receiving yardage because, like we already said, it wasn't a lot of throws. So
yeah.
Amari Griffin had a catch for 17. Kyron had a catch for 8. Dom had 2 catches for 12, and Jacob had 1 for 16.
Yeah, I thought when we did decide to throw the football, it was okay. It was good enough for what we were asking Braden to do, and the receivers did a pretty decent job of getting open. Obviously, we'll talk offensively a little bit about the first drive of the game. We go like 16 plays, drive the length of the field, get behind the sticks, 4th and 8. I make a boneheaded decision going for it, being aggressive. I've been thinking about it every day since I did that. So I should take 3 points in that situation. Yeah. That's on me. It's just a bad call on my part. But going forward, I could be a little bit smarter. But in that moment, I wanted to be aggressive, show the guys I have confidence in you. It's the first drive of the game. You've been doing a good job. But we got behind the sticks a couple times. We got 2 holding calls on that drive that took us back behind the sticks. So in that situation, take the points. If I was watching myself on Sunday, I'd have been cursing myself out.
All right. Offensive stats for the night: 34 rush attempts, 214 yards, 6.11 yards per carry. 9 pass attempts, 53 yards, 13.25 yards per completion. 44 total plays, 267 total yards, 6.6 yards per play. 1 penalty for 15 yards, 0 sacks, and 1 turnover.
Yeah, turnover was costly.
Yeah.
Late in the game, Griff had a great night, put the ball on the ground in an unfortunate time after we get an interception from Amari and Southall.
Yes.
Had a chance to go up, 1 score there, at least make it a touchdown game. Weren't able to punch it in. So that was a big one. But, obviously he had a great night. We just got to do a better job taking care of the football. But for the most part, that's a night we can live with in the offense that we're running. What I mean? It's something that sometimes it ain't going to be clicking on all cylinders every single time that we go to run the football. So But definitely expect to see some improvement from us. I think our offense is chomping at the bit to get back to work tomorrow night and show that last week's offense is not a representation of who we truly are.
All right, let's get through these defensive stats. Tyler England, 10 total tackles, 7 solo, 3 assists, 3 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback pressures, 2 sacks.
Yeah. He had a monster night and a pass breakup.
Yeah, 1 pass breakup.
Yeah, Tyler played well, and honestly, if you ask Tyler how he played, I think he'd tell you he didn't play that well because he had a couple of, I'd say, 3 to 4 missed tackles in the backfield for tackles for loss.
Yeah.
That he really, after the game, I told him he played really well. He's like, Coach, that wasn't a good game. So I mean, he's a guy that expects a lot out of himself. He's a team captain, and we expect a lot out of him too. You know what I mean? So for a guy that played as well as anybody else on the defense to say he didn't feel like he had a good game, I think it speaks a lot to his character and the kind of kid he is and how hard he works each and every day to put himself in a good position. So I was, really, really happy with the way Tyler played.
Roland Binding, 9 total tackles, 6 solo, 3 assists. Jeremiah Jones, 9 total tackles, 6 solo, 3 assists, 1 tackle for loss.
So look, let's just talk about those two guys next to each other on the defensive line. Similar stat lines. To be a defensive lineman getting 9 total tackles, both of them 18 between the two, that means we're doing a good job stopping the ball at the point of attack.
Yeah.
So I was pleased, man, with the way those two guys played. Roland does a good job playing technique. He's really, really sound in what we ask him to do. Jeremiah has a motor. You can't really teach what he does. He's just somebody that never quits. He's always on 100 every single rep. So, really, really excited with the way that the front 7 played. And excited to talk about the next guy we're about to mention.
Yeah. A lot of people might be surprised, but the coaches, people that are around the team and see how this kid works, this is no surprise. Connor Jarrow, 9 total tackles, 6 solo, 3 assists.
And, he did that in 3 quarters of work. He comes in for Andre. Andre's obviously one of our best football players on the football team. Mike linebacker, guy that makes all the calls, makes the checks, puts us in the right positions. He goes down early, in the first quarter on the second drive. Connor comes in, doesn't miss a beat. And that's hard to do. You know what I mean? That's hard to do. So we were really, really happy with how he played, just kind of proud of the way he stepped up and was able to answer the bell. That's a guy that we're going to depend on, obviously, going forward. He's a smart guy. He makes all the checks. He can do everything that Andre was able to do. He puts us in the right positions. He's always in the right position to make plays. He made a big play late in the game.
Yeah.
He recognized the screen. We had him spying the running back, so he did a good job there. Tyler was spying the quarterback. Smart football player. Instinct is really, really good at the linebacker position. We're excited with him going forward until we get Andre back. We have all the confidence in the world in him getting the job done and leading defense.
Jarrow. Lawrence Bangura, 9 total tackles, 6 solo, 3 assists, 1 tackle for loss, 1 interception.
Finish up all 3 of these. That's our safety crew, so I want to talk about them all together.
Dyson Vaskalaskis.
Yeah, the boy moves.
I've been practicing.
We can tell.
9 total tackles, 6 solo, 3 assists.
Forced fumble.
All right, I missed. I lost my.
I
lost my play.
It's all good.
Defensive player of the week, Amarian Southall, 7 total tackles, 7 solo, 2 interceptions, 2 PBU.
Yeah. So look, these are our 3 safeties. Obviously Spencer Conrad, he's another one that he had a great game as well. But whether it be free safety, strong safety, weak safety, we call Amari an outside backer, but he's really a safety.
Right.
And those guys did a great job in coverage. When you look at Assumption, for their production offensively in the passing game, 13 for 26. They complete 50% of their passes for 154 yards, but 3 interceptions. So those guys were doing a good job flying around, making plays on the ball, knocking balls down when that was the case, when they couldn't get both hands on them. But to be able to get the ball back to the offense 2 times late in the game, I thought Amarian did a really good job. He was trying to jump that route all night. And he got beat 2 times, earlier in the game that kind of gave up some third down conversions for those guys on third and long. One of them was a third and 14, one of them was a third and 10. So he was being aggressive, and that's what you like about him because eventually he's going to make that play late in the game. He was able to make that play 2 times in the second half to put our offense in really good field position. Obviously, we talked about the Griff fumble on one of them, but then Hutchinson was able to make a field goal that eventually ended up winning the football game off of Omarian's, interception late in the game. So it was really excited with the way Omarian played because he's been doing that all year, man. And we were able to get him back from injury, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, leading into the opener. And then Lawrence had his best productive game of the season so far. He's kind of not been able to get a lot of action back there at free safety. So it was exciting to see him kind of, get into the picture last week. And then Dyson's done a really good job all year so far. I mean, he's a guy defensively. He brings a lot of energy for our football team. And the guys rally to that. They do a good job of kind of rallying around, the type of energy he brings when he's on the field. So those three guys, man, one of them the deep half of the field, and then each of those guys as overhang defenders, Dyson and Omarian. We feel really confident in the way that those guys are playing football right now. So give up 13-6 through the first 2 games. Each team barely eclipses 200 yards on us. So we really like the way that we're playing defense right now.
Absolutely. All right, Charles Howard, 6 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 assist, 2 quarterback pressures. Spencer Conrad, 5 total tackles, 5 solo, 2 PB, 2 pass breakups. You didn't make these bigger, or I need to bring my glasses?
Well, I highlighted them in purple for you. That was nice of you, right?
Yeah. Robert Tolbert, 4 total tackles, 4 assists, 1 tackle for loss. Kamari Carter, 3 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 assist. And I told him today he better wreak havoc on that Central offense.
I think he will. He had a good week of practice.
Yeah, I love that kid. Maya Randolph, 1 tackle, 1 assist. Andre Jones, 1 tackle, 1 solo, but like you said, he was hurt. Jake Kyle, 2 tackles, 2 solo, and Makai Sylvester, 3 tackles, 3 solo.
So I want to talk a little bit about the last 2 you said. So Jake Kyle, Makai Sylvester, those are all on special teams. So that was either on punt or kickoff that those guys were able to rack up some tackles. I was really excited with the way those guys were able to put an impact on the football game. Jake's a guy that does everything right. He does what you ask him to do.
Yeah.
He's got a high energy. Makai's the same way. Makai's a high energy kid, flying down the field on kickoff, making plays, doing the things that we're asking him to do. And it's going to eventually lead to him getting touches on the offensive side of the ball as well because he's a special football player with the ball in his hands. He scored a touchdown last night in the JV game. So, I'm excited about the way those guys played. And then the last one I want to touch on is Chuck, man. Charles Howard. He's a guy that comes to work every single day, does the right things. He works his tail off. He's a really good kid, hard worker. And his stat production hasn't been kind of where he wants it to be so far this season. I think it's because teams are running away from him a little bit. Because, if you look at our defensive line scouting-wise, you probably would be smart to kind of go away from him because of the way he plays his technique and does things like that. But overall, man, he's done a great job through 2 weeks of the season.
Absolutely. All right. Defensive totals, 201 total yards, 13 points. 13 for 26 passing, 154 yards. 24 rushing attempts, 47 yards, 2 touchdowns. 1 penalty for 15 yards. 3 turnovers forced, 3 interceptions. 201 total yards, 3.72 yards per play. 6 3-and-outs, 9 total drives. That's 67%.
I think that's the biggest stat of the whole night, is the 3-and-outs. Other than the first opening drive to start the game, they go 14 plays for 85 with a touchdown. To open the second half, they go 15 plays for 92 with a touchdown. But other than that, defense was able to get off the field 3-and-out every single time, get the ball back to the offense. Other than the last drive of the game where we committed a couple boneheaded mistakes late, leaving out a man coverage to go try and make a play on the quarterback. Things like that, things that we have got corrected that we won't do again. But yeah, obviously, excited with the way the defense played, excited with their effort and their energy, the way they flew to the ball. So, Yeah, I mean, you hold a team 201 yards on 48 plays. I think he did a lot of good things in that football game, especially creating 3 takeaways, getting ball back to the offense.
Right. All right, let's run through special teams. Zach Hutchinson, PATs 1 for 2, field goals 1 for 1, a 20-yarder, 4 kickoffs, 2 punts for 96 yards, a 48-yard average.
Yeah, so let's talk about Hutch a little bit, man. He nursed a foot injury last week.
Yeah.
Ended up kicking the ground instead of the tee in practice on Wednesday. Things swole up on him with black and blue. He nursed it on Thursday and did what he could on Friday to he ended up kicking the game winning field goal for us. So obviously he was good enough to play. But yeah, that's the kind of kid he is, man. He's a hard worker. I think I said it last week. I'll keep saying it. He's one of the best kickers in the state. Somebody eventually is going to give them an opportunity to go kick for their school, and they're going to be really, really happy with the results that they get from that. And then the punts, he did a great job. Obviously, I was really upset with the first punt. He hits it 50 yards, rolls into the end zone when we had guys around the football.
Yeah, that was.
We got to do a better job of making sure we get
the
football, pin those guys deep. So that was on us. We should have did a better job. He had a really good kick, and then late in the game, flipped the field position. To start them, deep in their own territory, inside their own 10-yard line. We were able to make a good play down there. That was Makai Sylvester and Jake that had a combo tackle on that punt. So I was happy with that. So yeah, overall special teams with Hutch from coming off that injury and being able to play 2 days later. He did everything we could ask him to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great kid, man. Great kicker, great punter.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
All right, punt returns. Cohen Oakwan, 1 return for 2 yards. And Lawrence Banker tackles punter to get ball back to the offense before half.
And we were able to punch that in for a touchdown. That was big. Their punter, he just drops the ball. So Lawrence was right there to able to tackle him, make sure he doesn't get one off, get us a short field to work with, punched it in, take the lead before halftime. And then Cohen, obviously, 1 return for 2 yards. But if you remember the play, punt was deep over his head late in the game. He goes run backwards to catch it. He did a great job catching that football, not letting it roll 15 more yards to put us inside the 5-yard line to start. So he was able to save us a lot of field position right there. So I thought that was a big play from him as well.
Absolutely. Kickoff return, Jonathan Bell, 1 for 17 yards. And Dyson Vasquez with the block, PAT.
Yeah, and I missed one too. Vondarius Brown had 1 for 32.
Yeah.
He had one that started us at the 50-yard line. So that was big. Obviously, Dyson's block PAT ended up being big late in the game whenever we were able to take a field goal lead rather than a 2-point lead. Because if they would have drove down, got a field goal position, it could be a different result. So really good play, big effort play by him, obviously early in the game to come off there and not take a play off after giving up a touchdown on a really long drive. So really excited with the way our special teams played last week. I think they were a really, really big part in the game. Yep. Obviously, with Hutch kicking the field goal to win the football game, and then we were able to get a short field for the offense to punch one in, and we block a PAT. So special teams for me gets an A+ last week. I thought they played really well.
Yeah. All right. My favorite week of the year. Central Lafourche. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Thibodeau High Stadium.
That's right. You want to talk about the young guys last night?
Oh yeah, we could do that.
There we go.
Sorry, young guys. I'm just.
Be excited.
Yeah,
that's all right. We understand.
All right, let's go. We had the JV last night.
26-0 in 2 quarters of action. Game got called because of weather.
Didn't they freshmen and JV both kind of?
It was a combo game. Yeah. So freshmen played, or JV played first, and then freshmen started the second half. We didn't get to play the entire second half. We played a couple minutes. And then the game got called late because of weather. We tried to push it back as far as we can, but lightning just stayed in the area, kept striking. But Damian Robinson had 3 touchdown passes last night, 2 to Anzio Holmes and 1 to CJ. So, those guys did a really good job. 1 on post rail, another one on a slant route, and then another one just on a deep ball, a seam across the middle to Anzio. So I thought that was really good. Vondarius, touched it and does what Vondarius does whenever he gets the football.
My dog.
Samayan Adams did a good job with the carries, that he had. Makai Sylvester did a good job. Same thing. We only had 9 offensive plays. We scored 4 times on 9 offensive plays. So didn't spread the ball around a ton, obviously, because we didn't have the opportunity to. And then the defense played really well. Carter Klute got an interception last night. So I was
Hey,
excited to see that. We had a lot of guys doing good work. Tackles for loss. Jake Onkow, Tevin Martinez had one.
seven.
Braden Boyd did a good job at backer last night. Landon Luke did a good job at backer last night. Maris Lee was all over the field, blitzing each
As
and every
usual.
play. Just really excited with the way both units played last night in the first half of the JV football game. So excited about the future, and those guys are, they're excited to play football. So hopefully we can continue to get those guys games, especially with the freshman unit. Man,
Right.
they just kind of been catching bad luck
Yeah.
lately. The South Lafourche one gets rained out, then they're about to play the second half, and then that one gets
Lightning.
rained out. The LB Landry one rained out, so it's just they've been catching a bad string of luck lately. But hopefully, the next 2 weeks with East St. John Hornbill, we should be able to get the total freshman and JV games in on Wednesday.
Yeah. But hey, them when they play, they've been balling.
Yeah, no, the
Kids
young
been
guys are
playing
doing a
their
good
butts
job.
off.
They are, and they're excited, man. They come to practice every day and they work, so we want to make sure we do a good job of rewarding those guys with the opportunity to play some football games.
Absolutely. All right, now.
Now we get to your favorite part. Yeah, here we go.
Central Lafourche tomorrow night, Tiger Stadium. Stuff.
Shoot, stuff.
All right.
Done.
I don't know. I gotta find that mic. But Central Lafourche tomorrow night, Tiger Stadium. Keys to victory.
Keys to victory. I think we got to take care of the football. Obviously, we got to do a good job. Offensively, staying in front of the chains, making sure we don't have any negative plays. Staying, making sure that the referees don't have an impact on the game by not committing penalties and not doing things like that to put us behind the sticks. I think we've got to have some explosive plays. We definitely got to make explosive plays because when you look at Central Lafourche's defense, man, they got a big defensive front, big defensive line, big linebackers. They got some guys that can run on the perimeter. So I'm impressed with what I see from their defense. Offensive keys to the game, just take care of football. Take care of football. Don't get behind the chains and do what we do. We don't necessarily need to deviate from what we do. It's been working, so we're doing a good job. I think offensive line wise, we need to play much better than we did last week, and I think they'll answer that challenge. I think you'll see them have a really good night tomorrow night. Wing backs, when they get the ball in their hands, got to do something with it. They got to be explosive. And then Griff's going to do what Griff does. Whenever we put Bubby in a situation where we ask him to throw the football, he's going to do a great job of putting the ball downfield. You could see a variety of things from us tomorrow night. We may not just stay in. We may bump out back to the spread a couple of times like we did last week. But we could stay with bread and butter and do what we do. So regardless, we want to be difficult for offenses to prepare for. And that's our defenses to prepare for. So that's one of the keys that I think that we need to do is just kind of continue to be multiple and disguise what we want to do.
Who are some players on Central that y'all watching extra closely? Some standouts on offense and defense.
Yeah, defensively, it's the front seven. I mean, those guys, they're big up front. They're physical. They play fast. They fly to the ball. And then offensively, for those guys, I think the best unit for them offensively is the offensive line. The offensive line, massive, man. They got some big dudes up front. They got some running backs that are interchangeable. They got a lot of guys that can go with the football that are pretty quick. Heavy run team from what we've seen. They got they're banged up. They got a couple of injuries. They second string, third string quarterback kind of rotation that they're going back between two guys. Their original starter got hurt in week one against Vanderbilt, so he won't play tomorrow night. So kind of expecting to see some heavy run stuff from those guys, but obviously we've been preparing for some different things that we could see. They're going to do a lot of different formations tomorrow night, so we got to make sure that we're doing a good job being lined up, being in the right gaps, making sure we're assignment sound before the play starts, because that's where they start to give you issues. They play double tight ends, they play tackle over, extra offensive linemen in the game. They just do a lot of games, a lot of multiple things that can confuse defenses if you aren't schooled up on that and you didn't work on it all week. Fortunately for us, I think we did a good job. We had our best day yesterday, making sure we're lined up to the things that they want to do. I think tomorrow night, defensively, key for us is going to be to stop the running game, inside zone, make sure we're doing a good job on first down, putting them in second and long, second and 8, second and 9, things like that. And then in the pass game, we got to make sure we're assignment sound, reading our keys. If we're in man, we can't be aggressive to the run. We got to play the man, play our assignment, be assignment sound. And then, like I said, offensively, we got to do a good job with their front seven, They got a physical front seven up front, so we got to do a good job on the offensive line and making sure we fall forward whenever we're running the football. And then in special teams, obviously, I think anytime you have a guy like Hutch in the special teams units that we have, you can be winning that game each and every week on that unit. So we got to do a good job making sure we win the special teams phase of the game tomorrow night.
I think we got that.
Yeah, definitely. Field position battle is going to be a big thing.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to talk about? Central Lafourche game last week.
I'm just excited to play home, man. It feels like we ain't played home in forever. We played home for a scrimmage against South Terrebonne, and then Jamboree's been away. Week 1's been away. Week 2 was canceled. Week 3 was away. So finally, get to play a home football game in the regular season in week 4, in a season where we're supposed to play 6 home games.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was supposed to feel like we were home all season, and it feels like we ain't been home yet.
Right.
But moving forward, we got a stretch of 3 home games in a row coming up. So. We're excited about that. We're just excited to be back home, excited for homecoming. We got a big alumni thing tomorrow night, which should bring a lot of people out there. I know our kids are excited because they've been starting to talk to me about how many people is going to be in the stands. They're pumped up about that. So get there early, man. Pack the stands. Cheer for the team that you want to win. Obviously, the Toledo High Tigers will put a good showing on the field tomorrow night. And, we're excited to get out there in a rivalry game. Obviously, rivalry games are tough, especially during homecoming week, things like that. So, they're always that's going to be a Super Bowl game for the opponent. They're always going to put their best foot forward. Their best effort's going to be tomorrow night. That's the game that they have circled on the schedule, but also that one that we have circled. So, I expect our guys to come out and give it 110% tomorrow night and come away with a victory.
Coach Dugas coming home.
That's right. Look forward to seeing him on that.
I know everybody's ready to hear my voice again.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful. I couldn't think of anything more majestic.
I'm ready. I'm excited. I hope the student section is as crazy as they were
for the scrimmage.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be exciting to see, man.
Awesome.
I was pumped up with the way they showed out for the scrimmage. So to see them in a regular season game against a rival for homecoming, it should be a really, really good environment.
That was awesome. I hope they're out there tomorrow, and I hope we have a big crowd.
We will.
And y'all loud, and hey,
weather's supposed to be nice too.
Weather's gonna be nice.
Cool down a little bit, so should be football weather tomorrow.
But y'all still need to turn that air conditioner on in the press box.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. So that's it.
That's it.
Anything else?
That's it. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Atta babe.
Atta babe.
You pressed the button this time?
Hope. Yeah, I did.
We fired Sean from that job.
Absolutely. Yep.